One of the rides that is widely considered one of the most intense roller coasters ever built resides in the West Edmonton Mall in Alberta, Canada, and is called Mindbender. This is in Galaxyland, the indoor amusement park, and is a massive Schwarzkopf roller coaster. And this thing is ridiculous. I think I ended up getting about 7 rides on it, and every time I walked off, I felt like physically drained because there are so many positive G-forces just slamming your body around on this ride. It 100% deserves the title of one of the most intense roller coasters ever. I think after I got off, I said the only coaster that I would consider more intense is Intimidator 305, which I still think is the most intense roller coaster ever built, at least out of all of the ones I've ridden, which is almost 600 as of when I'm recording this video. But I would put Mindbender as the second most intense roller coaster I've ever ridden. Like, this ride exhausts me. The only reason why we didn't ride it more times, it didn't have a line, it was just because the ride takes so much out of you physically. Like, it is hard to marathon. We spent the whole weekend in the West Edmonton Mall, and the most we did Mindbender in one day was 3 times. I think the max G-force was listed at about 5.6 Gs, and if I had to take a guess, I would say that you really hit that after the second loop. But man, it is so intense the entire ride. There's many points why I would say that the G-force feels like it's hitting around 4 Gs, maybe 4.5. I grayed out on Mindbender at least 2 different points during the ride, maybe 3. And the reason for that really is because this ride feels like it never ends. It keeps on going. For an indoor roller coaster, it is amazing how long this ride is. And most of the ride, it's actually making left turns. The only time that it turns right is the end helix. Everything else is a left turn, because it's really just winding around itself the whole time. Another thing, this ride is really tall. Notice it has a height of 145 feet, and it's indoors. That is amazing. And when you reach the top of that lift hill, you just realize how close you are to the ceiling, and it is crazy. It's almost like head choppers. The other word I would use to describe this ride is whippy. This thing really flings you around. A lot of these turns are very compact, obviously because they have a very small space to work with. So all of the turns and drops are done in a very tight space. So as a result, your body really gets thrown around on this ride. You have to brace yourself for all these maneuvers. And the thing is that you're pretty much, no matter what, gonna get some sort of neck or head banging. And that is because of the way that these restraints are set up. That's really the only downside I would say about Mindbender, is that the restraints are not good. And I understand why they're in place. There was an accident way back in the day, and so they really want to make sure that all of the guests are safe and secure in the vehicles. And so as a result, there are 3 different sets of restraints in this ride. So first you have your seat belt, then you have your lap bar, and it's a pretty bulky lap bar, if I might say. And then you have your shoulder restraint, which if you've ridden the Big Apple coaster or Olympia looping, then you probably know what this is like. Essentially, the ride op comes over after checking those 2 restraints and then pushes down these shoulder things so that it touches the top of your shoulder, so you are really locked into place. And the thing is that because this ride is all positive G-forces, you don't need that shoulder restraint. These Schwarzkopfs were not designed to originally have those. It was added later. So I think that's what kind of bothered me, is because here's the problem. If you understand Newton's laws, then you know that an object in motion will stay in motion. So let's say that you have a turn that is banking you left. That means that your body is going to go right. These shoulder restraints have your body positioned perfectly straight upright, so there is no wiggle room for your body to move right to react to those forces. So that means that pretty much the entire time you're uncomfortably slamming up against these restraints, and so that's why it is a little uncomfortable. I mean, if you've ridden any of the other Schwarzkopfs and you know that it just has a lap bar, it's a lot more comfortable because your body can move with the ride, and so you're prepared for it. This, not so much. The ride isn't rough, it's just very whippy. And the other problem is that the vehicle is very compact. And this is really the case with most Schwarzkopfs, but this one is definitely the case. I mean, if you're tall, yeah, have fun fitting in that thing. You'll be able to, but it will not be comfortable. There's very little legroom. Like, I'm not super tall, and I was uncomfortable. So, the trains, I would just say, in general, are my least favorite part about Mindbender. The actual ride itself, I think, is great. Like I said, it's amazing to me how long the ride is. So many positives, and the crazy thing is, it is not all positive G-force. There is one airtime moment towards the end of the ride, and it's pretty good airtime. It's really the only airtime you'll get on any of the roller coasters. The only other airtime moment you'll get in the park is on the S&S Space Shot, and I was personally not expecting there to be airtime on this ride, so that was a pleasant surprise. And this might sound totally stupid, But one of the things that threw me off the most about this ride was that you have this helix at the end of the ride, and there is a mirror in the center of it. And so what happens is the train is heading into the helix, and you see a mirror reflection of the train heading directly towards it, and you, like, upon first realization, you feel like the train is about to hit you when you don't actually realize, oh, it's a mirror. So the first time I saw this, I freaked out because it looked like this other train was gonna hit us. Like, it sounds totally stupid, but in the moment there was like half a second where this stupid mirror reflection of the train like really threw me off during the ride, because we're going around this helix and there's this other train running alongside us. It is the weirdest thing ever. But then the more you ride it, you're like, actually, this is pretty cool. Like, this is a fun little feature. So for Mindbender's final score, I'm going to be giving it an 8.5. The 8.5 is for any part of the ride that is great. I am deducting 1.5 points because the restraints are awful. Mainly the shoulder restraints. I was tempted to take off 2 points for it, but I still think that you can enjoy the ride. I, as a whole, really liked Mindbender, but man, those trains are not comfy. But like I said, I don't think that's changing anytime soon. So I'd say just prepare yourself for that if you're going to go out and ride Mindbender. But enjoy the ride. Like I said, it is extremely intense. The positive G-forces are insane, and it's a really long ride. So I guess that leaves just the question is it worth it to go up to Edmonton, Canada to ride Mindbender? And I would say if you are a diehard coaster enthusiast, I would say add it to your bucket list. It is a pretty cool ride. But if you live really far away and maybe positive G-forces aren't your thing, or maybe you're just not like super crazy about Schwarzkopfs, then I can understand if Mindbender isn't super high on your bucket list or anything, or you don't think you'll ever make it out to West Edmonton Mall for that. But if you do like positives and you do like high intensity, definitely put this on your to-do list to do at some point. So that's going to wrap up this review for Mindbender at the West Edmonton Mall at Galaxyland. Let me know down in the comment section below what you think of this ride, if you've ridden it, if you agree with my thoughts. And make sure to stay tuned for more coaster reviews here at Coaster Studios, and I'll catch you guys later.